Welcome to this week's edition of Adulting and Crafting. We are so happy to be here, and I hope that you have watched my other video with the conversation starters. If you haven't, you're sure welcome to go on back, come by the library, see if there's any craft kits left. But this week we are making succulent magnets. So look at these darn cute little things. Never fear if you're telling me, Mandy, totally don't have a green thumb. It's okay, they're plastic, whoop whoop. So you can keep these little dandies on your fridge and just have a good time looking at them because they're never gonna go brown, which is kind of handy. So in your craft kit, you will receive something just like this. Second craft, whoop whoop. But you will see that in your craft kit, there is a cork, some succulent that it is fake. There is a little bit of painter's tape around the outside. There is part of a magnet. And I also did put in one of these little screw spacers. Now I'm going to show you what you might be able to use these for, but there might be another way to do it too. We're going to go over both of those. The other things that you'll need from home will be potentially a pair of scissors, some paint of your color, choice color, and a paintbrush, maybe some water, and then one of these screws, or one of these screwdrivers, that is. This one is the top of the screw spacer, but this one I use kind of to dig out the cork. So I will tell you before we start that this is sometimes done a little easier with a drill. If you happen to have a drill, you are welcome to use, I think the original gal told me like a 5/8 inch bit, and you can just drill a hole for your little succulent. We are also going to put a hole in it, or if you think you can just stick it in to the cork, you can try that too, but I was finding that to be a little difficult. So at least we started with a little screw spacer to start the hole. So, but we're not going to go there yet. We are going to work on our cork first. So of course, if you have, if you are a messy painter like I am, then you might want to have some newspaper or a piece of paper or something down, so that way you don't have to worry about getting it all over you and or the table. So the first thing that I did, that you do, is go ahead and decide where you want your paint line. Now, if you don't want this, if you think that your little cork magnet is gonna be perfectly fine, you like that more vintagey wine look type of thing without any paint, you can totally do that. And also, if you're saying to me, Mandy, this is supposed to be a craft kit video and everything is supposed to come in the craft kits, never fear. Come to the library. We have a ton of paint that we will totally be willing to share a little bit with you, because this doesn't take very much. And if you don't want to go out and buy your own acrylic paint, I totally get it. If you have other kinds of paint, try them. I don't have any idea if that'll work. That I'm supposed to know all, I think, but I don't. So according to my husband, I'm supposed to know all, I guess. But go ahead and try them and see if they stick to the cork. You know, some things sticks to corks and some things don't. So, you know, it just kind of depends on what kind of paint you have. So, but go ahead and decide where you want your paint line, if that's what you choose to do. And I like to make sure that it's kind of straight, so you can kind of see right there, it's not perfectly straight. So be a little bit of a stickler here for the straight lines. So I'm just making sure that this tape line is very straight. And then, so I have just a nice tape line. Now I did notice that sometimes the tape doesn't really stick to the corks very well, but I tell you what, you can kind of finagle it around a little bit to make it work for you. So I chose lime tree as my color. For those of you that know me, you probably are not surprised that for one of them I chose orange because it's my favorite color, but I also like this green. I thought it was really pretty. So I'm sure you don't need tutorials on how to paint, but just in case you do, I just dipped a little bit of paint and I just swiped it up like this. Gets that kind of that pretty green yellow color. I think that is just a delicious color. Lime tree totally makes me think of yummy cocktails on the porch and enjoying the sunshine. So I also did the bottom. This, the way that I did it is going to be the bottom of the magnet. So you may or may not need it on the bottom, but I just thought that it worked out better like that. So, and then you're just gonna set this aside and let it dry for a few minutes. It doesn't take very long. This is not a very thick coat. As a matter of fact, I liked it just a little thinner. I don't know if you can see through it, through the paint just a little bit, but I liked it, the fact that you could kind of see the cork through it just a little bit. And you'll see this one, this specific cork doesn't happen to have any writing on it, but you will see what I mean here in just a second. So, because of course we're not gonna sit and stare at each other for 5 minutes to let that dry, I went ahead and pre-did another one with some orange, and you can kind of see with the writing then how it shows through. And I think that looks super cool. I think that that's really, really neat. So like I said, the painted edge I put as the bottom, but you can do whatever you would like. It's however you think that your magnet ought to go. And, oh, I also forgot, one of the other things that you are going to need is a hot glue gun, probably. That will be up to you. All right, so now here comes the hardest part of this whole thing, because the rest of it, my guess is you probably can do all by your little lonesome and you don't need my assistance on it at all. But I wanted to show you this little screw spacer. So what I think this is like it's something that maybe you put into the wall to, I don't really even know what it is. Maybe it's an anchor of some kind. I don't have any idea. That's the great thing about working in a library where we don't throw anything away, because there are things like this around. I started, whoops, I totally just dropped it. I started thinking about, well, how do we do this? Because, you know, these craft kits are supposed to be fairly easy for anybody to do. And I thought, well, we don't have a drill here at the library. What happens if people take these home and they don't have drills? So when I started looking, this is what I found. So it does have a nice pointy end on it. And so just stick it into your cork kind of in the middle. And then I just literally took, kind of balanced it with my fingers like this. And I literally just took and kind of manhandled it in. And the great thing about the spacer here is you can see already, you can even pull it out a little bit, you can see a little hole is being made. So I think that that is just a handy dandy, fine way to go ahead and get your hole made for your succulent. Now, I'm just keeping on going, and really, you don't even have to go all that far, because the great thing about these succulents, so I just basically went to the top of the screw, and I'm gonna go ahead and take it back out, because I'm gonna test something first. So I got all the cork dust out of it. So I'm gonna test something first. I really just need the hole big enough to be able to basically have this, the green wire into it. But the awesome thing about this is now that I have a hole started, I can kind of push this green wire into the hole, so that way, in the cork, so that way it stays. So I have it started, and look at that, it totally is going to push in. And I'm just gonna push, oh, see? Push and kind of twist, but see, it's not quite far enough for me. I would prefer it to be a little farther in. So we're just gonna take our screw spacer and just do that just a wee bit more. Remember, I stopped at the top of, or where the screw started, basically. And so I'm just gonna go a little farther. You can see that I'm going in a little farther. And if I now turn it back out, theoretically, I've made my hole a little bigger. And there goes all the cork dust. So now I'm going to try it again. Just going to push it in. And look at that. How cute is that? I think that is just adorbs. And you don't have to have a drill. You don't have to have a man or a woman, you know, who knows how to do a drill. You just need one of these little cool screw spacers. So really, we're just about done with our craft. How simple and cool and cute is that? I went ahead and took my succulent back out because I do want to use my glue gun just to put in a tiny bit of glue because I would prefer for the succulent not to come back out. So I just put it in, and so that way it looks like it's just about ready to come out. I'm going to stick the succulent right back in, and I probably will have little strings of hot glue coming out, but that way it will keep the succulent in for me. How cool is that? All right, so the last thing that we have to do is attach our magnet. So I gave you a little magnet in your bag. It does have a sticky side. That's what this white thing peels off with, but honestly, I never really trust the sticky side. So I just use my little hot glue, do a little bit of a line there, just like so, and put the magnet on. Now, of course, hot glue is hot, so be careful, don't hurt yourself, but there it is. So the only thing I will tell you about these succulents is you might want to, as you're putting your succulent on, you might want to think about how it's going to lay next to your fridge. So you might want to have the flattest part of the succulent close to it, or something that's a little malleable, somewhere you can push it. This one, it's kind of big and fluffy, but I kind of put the flattest side next to the fridge, or whatever you stick it on. But that's the only thing that you have to kind of keep in mind when you are doing these, is you have to make sure that they are able to put up flat next to your fridge. So anyway, here are your little succulent planters made of wine corks. Super cute, super fun, and I hope you have a wonderful time imagining your story with us here at the Marysville Public Library. Thanks so much.